98% of traders fail, all right? And this is not because they didn't find the right strategy. It's not because they didn't study hard enough. It's not because the market is rigged against them like everybody wants to think, okay? They fail because of what's happening in their mind, all right? And nobody, not the courses, not the YouTube channels, the gurus, nobody's gonna tell you that up front, all right? But I'm gonna tell you that, okay? My name does not matter, right? But what I'm about to tell you, it matters importantly, it matters greatly, and I suggest that you make sure you sit for this entire video if you want to find some type of success in your trading career, okay? 7 years in these markets, and this channel exists for one reason, to tell you the truth. I have debated for a long time about even doing this, but I really don't care for the media. I really don't care to be a part of all this extra stuff going on. I don't care. But I feel as if I'm doing a disservice to those who were just like me when I started, struggling with the confusion, damn near depression, and everything else that comes with trying to be a successful trader. All right. So I'm going to tell you the truth. All right. When you first come into trading, the very first thing somebody's going to sell you on is strategy. They're going to tell you to learn this pattern. They're going to tell you to use this indicator or to follow this system. And I understand why people believe it. I mean, hell, I believed it too. All right. Because in the beginning, it sounds logical. If I just find the right edge, I'm going to win, right? If I got the right strategy, I'm going to win. This is the part that nobody tells you, okay? You can walk in on day one with zero experience, no training, place a trade on any chart, and you have a 50-50 chance of being right. Literally a coin toss, 50-50, okay? This is somebody with no experience who just downloads TradingView and places a freaking trade. They have a 50-50 chance of winning. The market does not know who you are, all right? It doesn't care what strategy you're running. So if your strategy was the answer, if, finding the right setup was all it took, then half of all the new traders would be profitable, but they're not, because strategy was never and is never the real problem. The real problem is psychological. And I'm not saying this in some type of motivational poster kind of way, but I really, really mean it. I mean it in a very real and a very specific way. How you think about money, how you handle risk, how you respond to a loss, how you respond to a win. Those things, those mental patterns are what's actually controlling your trading at a deeply rooted subconscious level, okay? No strategy is ever going to be 100%, ever. You're going to take losses in trading. This is not some, possibility. No, this is a guarantee. I can't guarantee that you're going to be successful, but I can guarantee you that you're going to take losses. The question is, who do you become when the loss actually hits? All right. And I'm going to be honest with you for a second. Like, that question, it almost broke me, because I didn't grow up around money the way, trading requires you to think about it. Where I come from, losing money, it's not just a number on a screen. Like, that stuff is painful. All right. It was personal, and it was tied to something deep. All right. I had a very deep emotional connection and tie to money, but that's just how I grew up. So, and that emotional connection, you got to understand, to me, I carried that in every trade I took, and it cost me for years. I didn't start making real consistent money until year 4.5. 4.5 years. All right. And it wasn't because I finally, found the right strategy. It was because I finally did the work on myself, and that shit was hard as hell to do. Okay. So I really want to talk to, like, whoever really needs to just hear this right now. And this is directly to you if this applies to you. If you've blown accounts, because I have, if you've bought courses that didn't work, just like I have, if you're sitting there thinking about quitting, just like I did many times before, here's what I want you to understand, okay? 98% of people do not fail at trading, they quit. There is a big difference. Everybody will tell you 98% of traders fail. No, they quit. All right. But before I tell you to keep going, I got to be straight up with you about it, and let you know what keep going actually means. Because it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean like buying another course. It doesn't mean finding a new strategy. It doesn't mean any of that. It's going to come down to you doing the mental work. All right. And that is the number one thing that you probably will not get on here on anywhere in YouTube, and nobody will tell you that. Nobody's going to tell you it's mental work that you have to do in order to become a successful trader. And I'll be downright honest with you. If you go read the book, Trading the Zone by Mark Douglas, he'll even tell you most traders don't even come to this. Most successful traders don't even come to this conclusion. They just go through so many losses after so many years, and subconsciously their mind begins to realize that they have to do the opposite of the thing they're trying to do that's actually making them lose in order to win. Right? But for me, it wasn't that easy. I had to actually go through the mental stuff in order to rebuild my whole belief system and the way I thought about money and everything. So, this is what the mental work is going to look like. All right. It's going to look like journaling. It's going to look like writing down, what you're thinking and feeling during every trade, not just what happened, but what was going on in your head. All right. It looks like reading, not trading books, not just trading books, but books about the mind, about behavior, about belief. It's going to look like becoming self-aware. That is super, super important. Actually sitting down and asking yourself, how do I really feel about money? What do I believe about risk? And what happens inside me when I lose, right? Because here's the part that most people miss. I don't care what your pre-market routine looks like. I don't care how prepared you are before the session starts. What matters is who you are after you press the button. Who are you after you execute, the second after you execute a trade? And people who have been trading for some time know exactly what I'm talking about. Anybody can see a good trade before they take it. Okay, the trade looks clean, the setup is there, everything lines up cool, great. You click the button, now who do you become? All right, do you manage it? Can you manage it, or do you start to panic? Your heart start beating, you start feeling kind of anxiety and pressure, right? You start sweating. When it goes against you, do you hold true to the process? Do you even have a process to hold to, right? When you lose, do you reset, or do you just immediately get back in the trade? You revenge trade. You turn right back around and get back in again, right? When you win, how do you feel after you win? Do you stay disciplined, or do you get reckless? Do you start feel like you got it? Do you think you know what you're doing, and you start slacking off and feel like you don't have the back test anymore, right? Everything I just named is the things that I went through and I had to figure out about myself in order to fix, in order to be successful at trading. And it was hard as hell. It took me years to figure that stuff out. A lot of studying and figuring myself out to try fix those issues, right? So I'm just laying it out. That's the real game. That's exactly what separates the traders who make it from the 98% who don't. And if you don't believe me, go look at any real trader. The conversation is different. All right. And if you think I'm lying about it, talk to people who actually trade, who seriously trade and know what they're doing, have been spending years in the markets. If their psychological conversation doesn't have any depth and substance to it, they don't know what they're talking about, and they're probably not trading for real. Because anybody who's traded long enough knows the phases and the different mental situations and things you go through over time if you stick with it. Right. So if you're not willing to do that work, the internal work, I respect that. But truth be told, this probably isn't for you. And there's no shame in that because it's hard, right? But if you're willing and you're serious about actually understanding what it takes to win in the markets, right, then you're at the right channel, because that's all I'm gonna give you, okay? This channel is not going to teach you a magic strategy, although I will get into some technical concepts. It's not going to be a magic strategy because there isn't one, doesn't exist, okay? But it's going to teach you how to actually think in the markets, how to read price and block out all the noise, or better yet, like I like to say, turn the noise into information, because that's all it is. And how to become the kind of trader that can execute under pressure consistently, right? That's it. No hype to it. Ain't gonna be no lifestyle flex, no promises I can't keep. But I'm just simply gonna give you guys 7 years of what I actually learned, broken down as simply as I can give it to you. All right. So if that's something that sounds like it's interesting to you, go ahead and subscribe. I don't care if you do or don't. The right people. If only 2 or 3 people get it, I'm okay with that. But other than that, subscribe, stay close, and yeah, this is just the beginning.